All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Eric Bradford, and this is my colleague, Carrie Harmon. We will be talking with you tonight about hard to recycle at the Inca High School campus, which is coming up for us on February 1st, 2025. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And for those of you that are watching us at home, thank you for spending the time to see this. Our hard to recycle events have been operating since 2008. I took over the program in 2011, and we have sort of changed what it is that you see today, which is more of that one day large scale collection to grab items that would normally end up in your landfill. So things like styrofoam, books, batteries, types of electronics, and so since the event started, it is sort of expanded and contracted a little bit and refined as we've had other services come on board in our local area. So what we have right now is pretty much what we're collecting for the time being. Um, for some of you that may be new to hard to recycle, it is our goal at Asheville Greenworks to convert this event into a convenience center, because holding the event 4 times a year is just not equitable, and not everybody can get there. So we've been working with the city of Asheville and Buncombe County over the last couple of years about trying to find a space and opening a space that would be open, say, 2 to 3 days every week, collecting a wide range of items. And we've even talked about taking on more of a Habitat for Humanity approach, where we would get a box truck and a couple of volunteers that could go into neighborhoods and do very small, hard to recycle collections, especially neighborhoods who lack transportation. So we have a lot of dreams about how we can convert this event into a much more convenient and equitable program. But for the time being, we try to move it around to high school properties because they seemingly have the largest areas for us to be able to take in anywhere from 700 to 1,000 cars in 4 hours. Just as a recap, our event will be on February 1st, which is Saturday, February 1st, at the campus of Inca High School. If you type in Inca High School into Google Maps, it won't come up with anything. I'm not sure why that is. But if it does, sometimes it'll come up with Inca Middle School, and that will send you miles away from the event. So the address is 475. Let me go back to here. Oops, not on there. 475 Inca Lake Road is the address. 475 Inca Lake Road. Without our sponsors, we could not do these events. I've said this so much that it's going to make people cringe when I do say it. We shouldn't call it the hard to recycle. We should call it the hard to fund event. These sponsors all come together, and they help us so much to pay for these events, and so we're very appreciative of that. We always like to give them a little bit of a shout out, and so that you're recognizing that. So it's not Asheville Greenworks that collects these items; it is our partners, and we just convene, bring in the volunteers, and manage the event itself. Um, Here we have a map of the Inca High School property. And I would like for you to look up at the top of the map where it says Inca Lake Road. So the good news about this property is there is only 2 entrances to Inca High School. This is the main entrance at 475. It's very well signed. It has the address on the sign as well, too. A very large marquee that is flashing. We'll also have our hard to recycle sign there, as well as a volunteer making sure that folks can see that this is the entrance they're coming in. Once they come into the event, if you'll follow the red lines, it will take you to a roundabout, which another volunteer will be there, and that will shuttle them up into the faculty parking area. So that's where we're going to be holding the event this year. We had hoped for the tiered parking lot, but apparently there is a large wrestling competition that's going to be happening the same day. So our traffic volunteers are going to be working double shift today or on Saturday. So what they'll be doing is making sure that they're directing all the folks that are there for wrestling to go straight ahead, and the folks there for hard to recycle up into the event. So should be an exciting event. Once we get into the smaller parking area here, we're going to try something a little bit different. This is not a very large parking area. So we're going to try to put all of our vendors in the center and then run a line of traffic on both sides of it. And that way we can hold back a little bit on our volunteers stepping out or walking into and through traffic. We will have volunteers staged on both sides. I see that my good friend Ski is on here, who is a fantastic traffic and hard to recycle alumni. Ski, I know that one of our major issues at Hard to Recycle is trying to make sure that we have an equal distribution of where our vendors are so that we can keep our lanes flowing at all times. So I'm hoping that this arrangement here gives us a little more flexibility at the site so that both lanes will work. I think at our last event at TC Robertson, it worked out really well because we had equal vendors on both sides, so the cars could just rocket right on through the event. So that will be nice. And at the event itself, obviously you'll be in your group that you've signed up for. So styrofoam, television, scrap, computers, books, curbside. There are different sections, and you'll be working in one of those particular sections. Safety is paramount. We've been running the event, like I said, since 2008, and knock on pressed wood, we've gotten away with a couple of cuts and bruises, and that's about it at these really intense events. And I think part of that is because we're really conscious about your safety. So we wear our gloves that we provide at the event. You have a safety vest as well too. We're also making sure that you're comfortable. So we try to provide snacks and water to refill. Um, those basic things right there is the first level, but then we start getting into number 4 here, which is communications. So we want to make sure that we're communicating with our persons who are driving through the event, and the best way to do that is to sort of make sure they can see you as you're walking in front of the cars, but more importantly is to communicate with them. So when someone pulls up and they roll their window down, have a quick chat with them. Hey, is it okay for me to open your car? Is it okay for me to take this bag that's here? Carrie will get a kick out of this, but there's been several events where we've taken what we thought was a hard to recycle item out of someone's car, and turns out we had to really dig through to get that item back out and then back into that person's car. So we these days are asking, can I take this? Can I open your door? And then number 5 is the inverse of this. We do not remove items from the car if we know that we can't take them. So if it's items that's not on the list that we can take, once it's in our hands, it's kind of hard to give it back to the person. So we try to make sure we look at it and say, ooh, I can't take these car tires. I can't take these buckets of paint. But here's a list that'll tell you where you can take it. And so that's what we strive to do as well too, is to, if we cannot take it, is to make sure that they have a list with them and they can take it right on with them and take it to that next place. There's another piece of this, which is number 6 here, is we have a lot of really neat things that come through the event. And what we ask folks to do is to check in with one of the group leaders or one of the persons wearing green vests at the event if there's something you'd like to take with you. The thing that we don't allow to leave the event is going to be cell phones and laptops. Those are computers, laptops, and cell phones. We don't allow those to leave the event because we make a promise to our event goers that when it comes to us, it's going to get destroyed. And so those are the items that can't go home with any of the staff or volunteers. But there's a wide range of really great things that come through. Books, holy smokes! I come home with a dozen books every event. There's always some cool antique that'll come through the event. Absolutely. Let's just check in with our group leaders to make sure that's okay. And then number 7 is, if you start to see things slowing down, is to take the initiative to keep things moving. So if you see some folks that are stopping their cars, parking the car, turning off their car, getting out of their car, having conversations with folks, we need to keep them moving, because our wait time is, we try to keep it around 10 to 15-minute wait for folks to come through the event. But most importantly, we don't want the cars to back up into the main road, which will cause us a lot of trouble. So help keep moving the event through, making sure folks they don't have to climb out of their car. We can help them get their items. There are 3 tiers of vests that we use at the events. The green vests are your experts. These are the folks who manage the event, and they can answer all questions, and they can handle persons that might be having a tough day. So that's our job, is to direct any of that toward the folks in the green vests. Look at this photo down here with me. Look at that. We've got Lumiere, and what's the other guy's name from Beauty and the Beast that's on there? Carrie, I can't remember his name as well too. The teapot. What's her name?
Cogsworth.
Oh,
Cogsworth.
oh,
Oh, the teapot. Oh, the teapot's Mrs. Potts. Cogsworth was
Mrs.
the clock.
Potts. Yeah, so
Mrs.
how do you like
Potts.
that? They came through one of our hard to recycles, and they took a moment to take a picture with us. That's so cool. The orange vests are your group leaders. So those are volunteers, or they are the partner sponsor, so one of the owners of the company, for instance. So they're going to be the absolute expert in that area that's managing that station. So when you see a group leader, definitely go to them with more complex questions, and they're also there to do the training and support for you. And then, of course, our yellow vest is our standard volunteer in the absolute heart and soul of our events. So you're sorting materials, collecting items, you're keeping the event running smoothly, and passing out as many high fives as you're comfortable with. So that's our tiering system here: the green, the orange, and the yellow. And we try to be moving a lot so that you can see each of us, and we can help get through this event. I would like to turn this piece over to my colleague Carrie, for she has crafted such an amazing thing that we've tried out the last two events, and it's working so well. So Carrie, please take it away.
Absolutely. I'm realizing now that I'm at home, so I don't have my props to show you as I talk through this, but I promise that we'll show you at the event of the day. And I'll do my best to describe the props. But um, so we have sort of crafted a new way of accepting donations, at these events. Typically, we had like one, maybe two people at the end of the event, maybe taking cash as people exit. And we're trying to just make sure that we talk to every person, let them know, greet them, let them know why they're here. Most people already know, but um, just try and bring a lot of that really good, positive Greenworks energy into the very beginning, especially as people are waiting in line. So our goal is to, as the line gets longer, we're walking up the line, talking to folks, greeting them, checking to see if they've got TVs that we take fees for, or if they'd like to make a donation to Greenworks. So I'll have two teams of volunteers, an entrance team and an exit team. So the entrance team will be mobile, on the go, walking up the line of cars that are lining up to get into the event. Again, greeting them, asking for donations, and also collecting their zip codes, which is an important part of our reporting for this event to some of our partners. The exit team will handle contributions as individuals leave, as well as, I forgot to mention the VIP tickets. This was such an amazing idea. I wish I could take credit for this. This was all Eric's idea. So we'll have these strips of paper. They're just rectangles of light green paper, that the entrance donations team will be putting underneath folks' windshield wipers as they come through if they made a donation. So that will be your first clue. If you see that green slip of paper on a windshield of a car, those people are donors to Greenworks, and we want to say thank you if you're comfortable. Give them a high five, like Eric said. Shout out, say thank you so much for donating. You're awesome. Thank you for supporting. Just keeping that that VIP energy going. Let's see what else. I haven't even read the screen yet. So if you've signed up for donations, I don't recognize any of the names of the folks that are in tonight as my donations team. But if you do sign up for donations at future events, this is what we'll be doing. We'll be accepting credit card, cash, check donations from customers, taking fees for televisions with credit cards, and just thanking folks at the end as they exit. What else? Eric, am I forgetting anything? Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Yeah, that's perfect. Just being on the front end and helping to answer the questions makes it easier for the volunteers in the event itself. So they can, those questions are answered right away, and we don't have to stop the event to sort of answer additional questions. So good work. So
Absolutely.
let's talk
We're
about the
excited
list.
about it.
Oh yeah, it's worked out great the last two events. So let's see what happens, right? Third time's the charm. The list of accepted items. So this is what we live and die by, is the items we can and cannot accept. And so we'll start with the list of accepted items. And so our sponsor's name is next to it there. So we got BIMCO, so Biltmore Iron and Metal Company is what that stands for. They've been a sponsor of Asheville Greenworks for 52 years. They're a local family-owned company, wonderful people. They can accept electronics, televisions, scrap metals, batteries, appliances of certain types. If I like this right here, if it's anything that's ever had electricity or gasoline running through it, we can take it. We can take it at this event. So your old humidifier, your dehumidifier, your grill, your lawnmower, your washing machine. There's so many different items that they can take and process. Now, we will say that the only fee at the event is for televisions and monitors. So it is a $10 fee. Um, it costs Biltmore Iron and Metal something like an additional 18 more dollars. So it's about $28 per television in real cost to have this thing taken apart by hand and then recycled. So they eat a lot of the cost of this. And so we accept a small fee because we're trying to make this event as approachable as we can for folks. We have recycled tens of thousands of televisions since we started this event. And we went from a lot of those really big, heavy televisions to a lot of those flat screen monitors these days. And so we're seeing the shift, but we'll still see, a couple of dozen of the really big ones comes in. But scrap metals of any kind, all those sort of things. Biltmore Electronics is a company who we're working with that takes all the computers, the desktops, laptops, phones, those sort of items, and then they are making sure that if it has a hard drive, it's going to be destroyed, not wiped, but destroyed. They have a device there that they can smash them with. So you're going to see their team using their tools and zipping everything apart, taking those things out and then smashing them. And this is critical for us because we want to make sure that since you've handed it over to us, we are going to do what we said, which is it's going to be destroyed at the event. And they can also take other items like peripheries, cables, mice, all sorts of things like this. And all of this stuff is getting a new life. All of this is being recycled, and some of this stuff is just being reused, which is the highest level. They're also taking ink and toner cartridges, which is so helpful at our events. Styrofoam is one of our bigger ticket items at the event that we receive. We'll bring in two semi trailers, so the big over the road truck trailers will come in, and some events we fill both of them up, but most events it's about 2.5 trailers we fill up. If you're working on Team Styrofoam, it's a lot of sorting. It's a lot of figuring it out. Is this the right kind of styrofoam? And I'm going to go to an image that's going to help us with that. But your group leaders are fantastic at this. So they've been doing this for a couple of years now, and they're going to be able to help you understand what we can and cannot take. A lot of the work that we're doing also is removing tape. There's always a lot of tape that's on styrofoam. So we're peeling this off. We're making sure we have a good, clean product that's going to go to the recycler. Curbside management. So if you're in the city of Asheville and you have the Big Blue bin pickup, they're the ones who do that. So they're our local material recycling facility. They helped us start the Hard to Recycle series back in 2008. They are going to be there to recycle cardboard, books of any kind, and shredded paper. If you're on the cardboard team, you get to run the big rear packing machine, like it looks like a big garbage truck. It's super fun. If you're on the books and shredded paper team, we are separating the books and we're sending them to a prison reuse program, so that we don't want to see the books recycled. We want to see the books read a million more times. So some of the books are going to the prison recycling program, and then there's a volunteer who shows up and she gives her time to take them to children's libraries and things like this. So there will be some sorting of books before they're recycled, and obviously take home as many as you want. And then we have TerraCycle. TerraCycle is a really interesting company. They're a for-profit company that takes these items and then they upcycle them into all sorts of different products. But we have a small list of what we can take. So Brita filters, oral care products, deodorant packaging, squeezable food pouches, razors, things like that. The person usually running that section is top notch. So they're very good at sorting what they can and cannot take at these events. So the styrofoam collection. So here's one of the semi trucks as I'm talking about. This one's almost full here. And I see Claudia here. Claudia is to the far right. She's one of our group leaders and just absolutely magic at this event. And it's a really happy moment whenever they yell, that they got a full truck, so we close up the truck and then we move to the next one. It's really a good feeling. That trailer though, we estimate is probably about 300 pounds of styrofoam being shipped. So styrofoam, not very heavy, but just it takes up a lot of room. Incidentally, the styrofoam is shipped to a company in Randleman, North Carolina. It's called Dart Container. So if you've ever had one of those little solo those little Dart white styrofoam cups, that's the company. So they take this and it's recycled into new plastic products. So let's talk about the image of what we can and cannot accept. It's a small what we can, and it's quite a large what we cannot, because foam is a big word. So when we put styrofoam, people wish that we could take everything, and we wish we could too, but our recycler can only take a handful of the items. So what we can take is going to be your food grade, clean styrofoam. So, your egg cartons, your cups, your carryout containers, certain trays that carried a meat on them, things like this. But we do ask that they're clean when they come in. We do segregate the colors though. We'll put all of the whites in one bag and all of the various colors in another, and that helps the recycling process on their side. So that's one piece. But then the big ticket item is going to be your white packaging styrofoam. So imagine you just bought a new television and you slipped it out of the package. That type of hard styrofoam that if you break it, it turns into little dots. That's the kind that we're looking for. And as you can see, there's a lot of kinds we cannot. So the blue board down here is a type of insulation, as well as the pink board. We can't take those. They are considered a type of styrofoam, but they're coated in a fire retardant. And so that makes it very difficult. They can't be heated back up again and then turned back into another product. We cannot take packing peanuts. Cannot take the foam wrap, and we cannot take squishy foam. So what's in like a seat or a cushion or things like this. So yeah, it is a limited scope, but we're going to get a trailer and a half easily of the materials that we do collect. And we're going to have this there at the event as well too, so you don't have to remember it right now. And we use these really giant, they're called pallet bags that we pack it up into. And so you can see the Olivia and Paul here getting, they're all smiles because everybody loves styrofoam. It's the most fun. And so they have sorted and pre-sorted what has gone into these bags here. And then we tie the bags up and, into the trailer they go. The electronics, scrap appliances, metals, televisions, this is a fairly physical part of what we do at the event. So we're coming up on these vehicles, surveying what it is. We're usually kind of yelling it ahead and saying, like, this car has a lot of televisions in it or something, so that we're ready for it when it gets there and we can all descend upon it like locusts and move the items into the right bins where they go. So it's a physical space that we inhabit for that piece of the puzzle, but it's fun. Get your steps in. The books and shredded paper is not in this style anymore. I couldn't find a fresh photo, but we now use a different large green bin that just everything gets stuffed into it, so we don't have to sort it and put it into these Gaylord bins here. So it's a little bit more of an efficient system. But we're going to get 3,600 pounds of books. I can promise you. It's just an amazing amount of books. So we want to make sure we're getting those things sorted and to the next place. Anybody on Team Cardboard, you get to run the garbage truck, and it is so much fun to run. So this is a space where we're trying to capture all the styrofoam, or excuse me, cardboard, which is funny to me because cardboard is actually one of the most valuable items in recycling, and we still receive an entire full truckload each of them. It's incredible. TerraCycle, back to that sort of the complex item. We have the various bins it goes into, but more importantly, it's the humans who know what we're going to be collecting. And so that they're doing a great job of making sure we're only accepting the items that we can take. Things we cannot take. So I know this seems like a small list, but it's actually a tremendous amount of things we can't take at these events. These are just the ones we see the most of that persons are asking questions. So light bulbs, cannot take light bulbs, plastic bags, rigid plastics. So think of chairs, kids' toys, buckets, things along those lines, hoses. We can't take any of those sort of just plastic item, just a plastic item. Construction materials. We do have a lot of folks that try to come through with wood, concrete, all sorts of things like this. And they say to me, well, this is hard to recycle. And I say, you are right. You are right about that. But it's not something that we are able to take. Cooking oils, motor oils, paint, chemicals, liquids. We're not permitted to take those. So we cannot get a permit in Buncombe County to accept these items. Those are considered household hazardous waste items, and those can only be accepted at the landfill. And the landfill collects that. I want to say it's one Saturday a month. They put up a calendar of when they can take those items, and a lot of these items they charge for. So it's fee to take those items. There's a where to recycle document that we're going to have. We'll have these printed out. So, someone asks you a question, you can take one out of your back pocket and hand it to them and say, oh, here's where you can take these items. Just a little bit more of a deeper dive on this sort of thing. So fluorescent tubes, we're going to see hundreds of them come to the event. And it's, again, a very hard item to recycle. So Buncombe County Landfills is the place to take them at this moment. Mattresses, things along those lines. I mean, it is to the landfill, and that is because there's just no one in our region that is offering the service to recycle those items. So sadly, they're going to have to go to the landfill. Tires, Buncombe County landfill, or the transfer station. Plastic baggies, thank goodness, there's so many grocery stores and retail outlets that take those. Flower pots and trays to Lowe's, and then motor oils, chemicals like that can go to any of the local auto stores. So Advanced Auto, Riley Auto Parts. They're really helpful having those folks. And again, this will be printed out for us, so we don't have to say this to every person. Um, we're going to get a lot of questions while you're there. Someone's going to say, "What are you going to do with all of this stuff?" We get the styrofoam is number one. So again, those get shipped to Dart and Randleman and converted into plastic products. The charging for the televisions is because for multiple reasons. One, the television just can't be shredded. It is full of all sorts of different. There's mercury switches. There's precious metals. There's lead in the big cathode ray ones. So we can't just chew those up into a machine. Those have to all be hand disassembled, and those components go to the right places. So it is a real cost. If you were to go to the landfill, they're going to charge you anywhere from $5 to $25 plus for your television, depending on the size of it. So we try again, work with our sponsors and get a low fee that we possibly can. Why aren't there more hard recycles? They're very hard to put on. The events are expensive. It's tough to find locations for them. And again, we are trying to move this event to one convenience center that's open 2 to 3 days a week. And maybe at some point in time, have it where we're able to go to neighborhoods lacking infrastructure and distribution and transportation, and maybe come in and do smaller, hard to recycle events in those communities to help them get rid of some of these items. And then, of course, how do you get involved? Just like you did, you were interested, you looked us up, you found us, you can go to Asheville Greenworks, check out our upcoming events. You can always phone the office. Please feel free to tell your friends, coworkers, friends, and coworkers, they can be the same, about these events and all these things and how they can get involved. I'll put my information up here and open it up for anybody that has any questions as well too. My name again is Eric Bradford. Here's my email. This is my mobile. Please feel free to snapshot this, put it in your phone, and keep that with you during the event. Let's say you have a flat tire on the way to the event. Please let me know. Our events run on volunteers, and if you can't show up, please let us know as quickly as you can. Let us know so that we can try to backfill your position. It takes roughly 60 persons to run each of these events, and that's why we try to break it up into shifts as well too, so not everybody's exhausted. But yes, please try to let us know if something, because life happens, but still let us know what is going on. So I'll open it up. You can unmute if you would like and ask questions, or you can ask it in the comment section there.
We had a couple of questions pop
Okay.
up that I already answered, but they were awesome. Derek asked, is the start time at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m.?
Yeah, so that's a great question because the event starts at 10 a.m. That's when we start letting folks in. So the 9 a.m. piece is so we can get there and set up the event. So if you're on the first shift, those folks arrive, and then we start setting up. And then sometimes we're set up and we're ready, before 10 o'clock. But we do an orientation, we do a walkthrough, a safety chat. But we got to have everything set up to make sure. I mean, I think the last event, ski, did we open up as like 15 minutes early at the last event, which is great because we had a line. We had 100 cars waiting for us right there. We had one person who'd been waiting since 8 a.m. And so, that's devotion. Any other questions?
The other question was about, do we accept children's car seat?
Oof, man, I wish we could. So that has been the toughest one. The last time we were able to collect those was in 2011, if that tells you anything about the market. So we cannot take those. Those are sadly a disposable item these days. And if they're so many years old, you're supposed to throw them away. You can't give them to other folks for safety reasons. And so it's a real shame those have to end up in the landfill. I'm hoping things will change. Ooh, did anybody ask the question about somebody hands you money? So they just randomly hand you money like, oh, I love you guys. Here's a donation for you. So Carrie, what do they do with this money?
You find a person in an orange vest and give it to them.
Simple, easy stuff. Yep.
I mean,
And
I'll be there as well, introducing myself at the beginning of the event. I'm usually very high energy at these, so you probably hear me coming before. Um, you're welcome to run it over, give it to me, or hand it to the nearest person to you in an orange vest.
yeah. Other than that, folks, I think we've got some great questions tonight, and we really appreciate you spending your time this evening to work with us. I'm going to go ahead and
One more question.
go ahead. What was that last question?
For this event, where did the volunteers park?
Excellent. Let me go backwards real quick here. Thank you for that question. So we're going to have a sign that's going to point you when you get there of where to park, but the parking area that we're going to have to use is, oof, I don't know. Can you see my pointer, Carrie? Can you see it at all? You see my
Yeah,
little cursor
it,
moving around?
yep, on the bottom, kind of bottom edge
Yeah.
of the screen there. Yep.
So in this roundabout, we're going to send you over to this parking lot here. So this parking lot has a nice walking path that'll take you right over to here to us. But this is the parking area right here. So we're gonna direct you down to that space, park here, and then walk over to the event itself. And the reason for that is we're going to be eating up every inch of this parking lot over here we're going to be using. And you might see a few cars that are here parked around the edges. We're trying not to have anybody parked there so that we can have a good flow of traffic out of the event. So, I mean, if someone has mobility issues, we're going to get you as close as we can and get you parked. But yeah, we're going to move folks down to that lower parking lot down there next to the Inca logo over there. So yeah, great question. All right, well, if that's the last one, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And whoops, if I remember